The attributes of God and answering questions. Why is God one, and does God's power have limits? Discussing the attributes of God and addressing related doubts is among the most profound philosophical and theological topics. The human mind often raises questions about the nature of God and his attributes. These questions stem not from skepticism, but from a desire to understand. Without a doubt, Islam provides logical and rational answers supported by the views of philosophers and scholars. First, why must God be one? If the existence of God has been established through rational and logical evidence, the question of his oneness necessitates a deeper understanding of divinity. Several rational and logical arguments affirm that God must be one. Firstly, the argument of prevention. God says in the Quran, "Had there been within them gods besides Allah, they both would have been ruined." Al-Anbiya 22. If we assume the existence of multiple gods, their presence would necessitate conflicting wills. For instance, if one god wanted to bring rain while another wanted to prevent it, this contradiction would lead to the universe's ruin. Since the universe is organized and stable, this proves that the will is unified and its possessor is one. Secondly, the unity of the cosmic system. When observing the universe, we find a remarkable harmony in natural laws, such as gravity and planetary motion. The physicist Albert Einstein once said, "The deeper I study the universe, the more I believe in an immense intelligent force behind it." If there were more than one God, such harmony would be impossible, and we would witness chaos or absurdity. Thirdly, the principle of absolute perfection. A true God must be absolutely perfect. If we assume the existence of multiple gods, it would mean each one lacks a certain quality completed by the other. However, deficiency contradicts perfection, making multiplicity impossible. The Islamic philosopher Ibn Sina stated, "The necessary existent is one, for if it were multiple, their essences would differ, and difference implies deficiency." Second, does God's power have limits? God's power is one of his most prominent attributes, defined as absolute and unlimited. Nevertheless, some may pose questions challenging this concept, such as, can God create a rock so heavy that he cannot lift it? These questions seem logical on the surface, but are fundamentally flawed. Firstly, the logical fallacy in the question. This question contains an internal contradiction, as it demands something that defies the definition of absolute power. God's power does not involve creating logical impossibilities, such as combining two opposites, existence and non-existence at the same time. The philosopher Abu Hamid al-Ghazali explained, "God's will pertains to what is intrinsically possible, while logical impossibilities are inherently non-existent, not due to a limitation in God's power." Secondly, proving the inclusiveness of divine power. God's power is evident in his creation of the universe with its precise laws. Even the most complex phenomena, such as the emergence of life and the balance of ecosystems, demonstrate the perfection of his power. The physicist Paul Davies stated, "The constants of the universe are fine-tuned with astonishing precision, making randomness impossible, reflecting the will of an unlimited power." Thirdly, distinguishing between the impossible and the unlimited. Logical impossibilities are not something that limits God's power. They are simply non-existent. In other words, the limits of divine power are not restrictions but expressions of its perfection. The Greek philosopher Plato stated, "The divine does not commit evil because it is the pinnacle of moral and intellectual perfection." Third, how are God's attributes related to his power and oneness? God's attributes, such as knowledge, power, and wisdom, are deeply interconnected. He is all-knowing, all-powerful, and wise in all his actions. This interconnection makes his oneness essential, as it is impossible for another God to possess the same attributes without contradiction. Firstly, absolute knowledge. God knows the past, present, and future, proving that he does not need a partner to manage the universe. As the philosopher Pascal remarked, "The divine knows everything with unparalleled precision, and this knowledge is proof of his oneness." Secondly, absolute wisdom. God's actions are based on absolute wisdom. The creation of the heavens and the earth with their intricate balance indicates that the governing force is one. Fourth, conclusion. God's attributes, such as knowledge, power, and oneness, are not merely religious concepts, but logical truths, proven by reason and science. The multiplicity of gods is impossible due to the absence of any rational or cosmic evidence, and God's power is boundless because it is complete and absolute. This understanding provides a comprehensive perspective that addresses all doubts and strengthens faith in God. Thus, it can be said that intellectual questions, no matter how profound, find in Islam satisfying answers that enhance confidence and certainty. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like, share it with your friends, leave a comment, and subscribe to the channel to get our latest videos. The attributes of God and answering questions. Why is God one, and does God's power have limits? Discussing the attributes of God and addressing related doubts is among the most profound philosophical and theological topics. The human mind often raises questions about the nature of God and his attributes. These questions stem not from skepticism, but from a desire to understand. Without a doubt, Islam provides logical and rational answers supported by the views of philosophers and scholars. First, why must God be one? If the existence of God has been established through rational and logical evidence, the question of his oneness necessitates a deeper understanding of divinity. Several rational and logical arguments affirm that God must be one. Firstly, the argument of prevention. God says in the Quran, "Had there been within them gods besides Allah?"